Imperial College, London, Commemoration Day at the Albert Hall, October the 25th, 1973. Robert W. Sarnoff, Chairman and Chief Executive of RCA, will be elected a Fellow of Imperial College and deliver a Commemoration Day address in his capacity as special visitor. Leading the procession into the hall, the Student Union presidents. Wearing his fellows' robes, Mr. Sarnoff prepares to make his way to the platform. As the strains of Gaudiamus Igitur die away, the first address of the afternoon is given by the student orator David Sinclair.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, praise be to God. Let it be remembered that on the 25th day of October, in the year of our Lord 1945, His Most Gracious Majesty, the late King George VI, and Her Most Gracious Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, now the Queen Mother and Chancellor of the University of London, honoured with their presence our celebration of the 100th anniversary of the foundation of the Royal College of Chemistry, which was the forerunner of the Imperial College of Science and Technology. The governors of the college thereupon resolved that this event should be commemorated each year by an assembly of the governors, the rector, the professors, the readers, the lecturers, and by those in statu pupillari as an act of loyal homage to our visitor, the reigning sovereign, as a mark of gratitude for all those who have helped the college, and as a sign of personal rededication to the pursuit of natural science and to its application to the well-being of mankind. Floreat Collegium Imperiale, God save the Queen.
Then comes the Dean of the Royal College of Science, Professor P.T. Matthews.
My Lord and Chairman, during the past academic year, the Diploma of Associate of the Royal College of Science has been conferred on 363 students of Imperial College. I now, as Dean of the Royal College of Science, call on the representatives here assembled of the newly elected Associates of the Royal College of Science to come forward to be presented to you, my Lord and Chairman, in token of the congratulations of the governing body and of all members of Imperial College.
The chairman of the governing body, the Right Honourable Lord Sherfield, prepares to admit the new associates. As their names are read out by the Dean, they make their way to the platform.
Derek Birch, Ian Brisbane, Philip Fawcett, Robert Hall, Marion Harrison, Joan Keohane, David Morgan.
This student, Robert Hill, will be the subject of a film Imperial College is making, looking at a year in the life of one of its students.
Pabuk Tam, Nigel George, Alastair Rogers, Alan Ashby, Didier Harrow, awarded a Governor's Prize and the Hinchley Medal for being the student of greatest merit at the final examinations in chemical engineering. Andrew Holmes, Robert Hill, Hui Kwok Kay, Brian Law, awarded a Governor's Prize for being the student of greatest merit in the final year of the undergraduate course in mechanical engineering.
The choir rises to sing Dixit Dominus from a motet by Handel. The staff orator, Professor G.J. Whitrow, then calls the names of the newly elected fellows.
As staff orator, it is my duty and privilege to present to you those whom the governing body of Imperial College have elected to honorary fellowship this year.
After 4 such fellows have been presented, Mr. Sarnoff, as special visitor, comes forward to receive his parchment and give his Commemoration Day address.
One of the latest benefactors of Imperial College is the chairman of the 20th largest multinational company in the world. It may seem unusual that someone who is not a British subject should take so great an interest in this college, but the generous benefactor of our Haldane Music Library is a man whose vision transcends national boundaries. He was born in New York City and still has his home there. In 1939, he received a BA degree in government and philosophy from Harvard University and began his long association with broadcasting by working for the radio division of the World's Fair in New York. After serving in the US Navy during the war, our fellow spent 2 years in publishing offices before becoming an executive in the national broadcasting company NBC. In 1951, he was elected vice president of NBC, becoming president in 1955 and board chairman in 1958. Meanwhile, he had been elected a director of the famous RCA Corporation. In 1966, he became president of RCA, and in 1970, he was elected chairman of the board, combining this with the presidency until August 1971. He then relinquished the presidency, but remained chairman and chief executive. Soon after he became president, RCA entered the publishing field and now owns Random House and Knopf. Besides firms dealing in real estate, frozen foods, carpets and furniture, RCA Corporation also owns the great international car hire firm Hertz. It remains a leader in broadcasting through its subsidiary NBC. Above all, RCA continues to be a major producer of electronic equipment of all kinds and an innovator in electronics and communications on a world scale. RCA runs 3 of the world's foremost electronic laboratories in Princeton, Zurich and Tokyo, and last year spent on research and development $88 million. The concentration of so much commercial and technological power has fortunately been matched by a high sense of corporate responsibility. Our fellow has expanded his philosophy on a number of occasions in speeches and addresses. He regards multinational business as the spearhead of an irreversible drive towards a true world economy, and he advocates safeguards against the misuse of power by any multinational corporation. Our fellow has been particularly concerned with problems of global communications. It is therefore appropriate that his corporation has produced the most useful of all satellite probes, the highly successful weather satellites, from which every day countries all over the world are obtaining meteorological information. Another notable achievement has been the camera antenna and transmitting apparatus attached to the lunar rover buggy, which gave the most extensive live color television pictures of the detailed surface of the moon. A model of this apparatus has been presented to the Science Museum. Besides receiving 13 honorary degrees, our fellow is one of only 4 Americans who have been decorated as officers of the French Order of Arts and Letters for their contributions to better understanding between the United States and France. Particular mention should be made of the Scroll of Honor and Gold Medal presented to him by the city of Florence for his efforts in aid of the restoration of Florentine art treasures damaged in the flood of November 1966. Our fellow is a member of the John F. Kennedy Advisory Committee on the Arts. In his office, as well as in his home, he has a fine display of modern painting and sculpture. He also has a Chinese collection, including works from the Tang and Ming dynasties. Despite his many directorships and other responsibilities, he has managed to find time to be very active on behalf of Scouting, and for many years, the American Red Cross. My Lord and Chairman, I have the honor to present to you our distinguished visitor, Robert W. Sarnoff.
The chairman of the governing body, Lord Sherfield, takes the rostrum to pay tribute to the special visitor.
Rector, Mr. Sarnoff, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. The only speaking part assigned to the chairman of the governing body at this ceremony is the introduction of the special visitor. This is not only an agreeable task, it is also an easy one, as all the available information about him has already been imparted by the staff orator. The staff orator has described his career and achievements. It is indeed a romantic tale which might have come from American folklore, for it is the story of a boy who rose to be chairman of the board of a famous American company, and an illustration of what talent can achieve in the free, open, and democratic society of the United States. Mr. Sarnoff is not only a great American industrialist and entrepreneur, and a man of original and inventive mind. He is a citizen of the world who in his own person, as well as in his products, spans the continents. He is at home in the industrial and scientific circles of every country. He represents the principle of universality, the unifying force of which the world stands today so badly in need. He is going to talk to us now on electronics, the new revolution, on which no one could be better qualified to speak than he. We are grateful to him for being with us today, and I shall not stand in his way any longer.
My Lord Chairman, Rector Flowers, fellows of Imperial College, distinguished guests, faculty, students, family, and friends. I am proud and grateful to be received among the honorary fellows of Imperial College of Science and Technology and to be invited as a special visitor to this Commemoration Day. These are high honors, and to me they take on special overtones in being conferred upon someone who is neither British by nationality nor a scientist or engineer by formal education. Your choice of a recipient from abroad confirms the observation that there is no national science, any more than there is a national multiplication table. And your choice of an industrialist also acknowledges that the domain of modern science embraces industry as well as the university. Today, basic research is pursued with equal zest in both the traditional cloisters of pure science and the laboratories of great corporations. In both worlds, the scientist seeks knowledge for its own sake. In industry, however, he must look beyond that goal to the purposes such knowledge may serve. Yet even this distinction is increasingly blurred, as it is, for example, by the concern with technology in such leading academic institutions as your own. The important reality is that we are all seekers in the unending quest for new scientific knowledge and its application to human needs. And all of us gain from the progress of each. This is particularly evident in the way academic and industrial scientists have built upon the discoveries of each other in my own field of electronics, as in the case of semiconductivity and the transistor, or of coherent light and the laser. Further discoveries emerge continuously from both communities. They are like new branches springing from the main scientific trunks that remain rooted in the basic work of Rutherford, Hertz, Planck, and the other great pioneers of the past 100 years. The progression from pure science to practical application gave birth to the Industrial Revolution in this island nearly 2 centuries ago. The process has been enormously accelerated in this century by the application of both government and private resources in unprecedented volume to scientific research and technological development. This acceleration has already produced far-reaching effects at every level of human society. Within the past 3 decades alone, it has enabled mankind to take energy from the atom, crack the genetic code, encompass the earth with instant sight and sound, and break the chains of gravity. Now we are in the midst of a new groundswell that signals further changes so fundamental and pervasive as to constitute another revolution. It stems from the technology of electronics, and especially the remarkable capabilities implicit in solid-state materials and devices. The entire field of electronics today presents a scene of turbulent activity, highlighted frequently by spectacular advances in satellite communications, laser technology, and information processing and display techniques. These developments have already revolutionized our approach to information, the ways in which we generate, transmit, and receive it, the ways in which we store, retrieve, and use it. They have multiplied by thousands of times the capacity of communications channels and the volume and speed of information handling. The impact has been enormous, particularly upon our large public and private institutions and their methods of operation. It is now evident that these remarkable advances represent only a prelude, and that there is much, much more to come. Recent research and development in solid-state electronics have led to large-scale integration. That is the forming of active transistor elements by the thousands on minute chips to create extensive circuits and even complete computers within the space of a few square millimeters. This new technology has evolved with surprising speed. Until about 1960, transistors were used as discrete elements, costing perhaps 6 pounds each. Today, as many as 10,000 of these can be incorporated into a single integrated circuit, costing from 4 to 8 pounds. At the current rate of progress, units containing 1 million elements should be on the market in the same price range by 1980. Consider what this will mean. A supply of sophisticated electronic circuits, mass-produced so cheaply that their use involves practically no cost per function, and made by a process so precisely controlled that they are almost infinitely reliable. As with many solid-state devices, they will require very little power. In a variety of applications, they will need only the energy supplied by small batteries in the manner of today's transistor radios and pocket calculators. Compared to the other recent dramatic achievements in electronics, large-scale integration has low visibility, yet it is perhaps the most truly radical, meaning that it touches the roots. It deals with the building blocks, the stuff of which the rest is made. It touches every function of sensing, control, communication, and information processing. Indeed, just about every kind of work now performed by people or machines except generating power or propelling vehicles. It promises to extend the impact of all that has gone before and to impinge upon virtually every organized human activity, whether institutional or personal. The Industrial Revolution took more than a century to gather full momentum. The electronic revolution may do so in the next 2 decades. In contrast to its predecessor, it will be silent, and it will create neither environmental pollution nor urban blight. In fulfilling its modest requirements for materials and energy, we shall not have to plunder our planet. The Industrial Revolution was a powerful centralizing force. It transformed peasant societies and local markets into a complex structure of industrial and business enterprises with worldwide connections. The Electronic Revolution will encourage flexibility and decentralization of organized activities. It will free those who make and execute decisions to base themselves almost wherever they choose. The Industrial Revolution tended to subordinate the individual to the organization, even as it multiplied human physical capabilities, productivity, and material wealth. The Electronic Revolution will shape electronics into a personal tool of universal application. It will compress a multitude of systems and devices with the energy to run them into packages small enough to carry in the hand. It promises to enhance the status of the individual by amplifying the power of the human mind and the precision of human control, just as the Industrial Revolution amplified the power of human muscle. The result through the rest of this century will be a fundamental and growing shift in patterns of working and living based on improved ways of using the brain. A growing variety of inexpensive, compact, and versatile devices will perform the menial tasks of the mind, calculating, remembering, searching for references, measuring risks and opportunities, the whole variety of non-creative mental activities that precede decision or creation. Unaided, the brain must spend an inordinate amount of time and effort on these tasks. In the lexicon of electronic data processing, the normal human mind can think about only 100 bits of information at a time and can transmit only about 25 bits per second. Consider by contrast that even existing electronic equipment can store, recall, and process millions of bits at rates measured in billions of a second. What will happen when such tools become universally available for personal and organizational needs? It is not difficult to foresee far-reaching changes everywhere, starting with the management and structure of public and private enterprises. A manager is essentially an information processor who spends most of his waking hours gathering and sifting information in order to make decisions. With the new integrated electronic tools, he will turn on information just as he turns on electricity. On his desk may be a small intelligent terminal with which he engages in a dialogue to determine his precise information needs. Through the terminal, the data are retrieved instantly from a mini computer in his desk or from a local or central data storage and processing system. He will keep no paper file, for everything can be stored and recalled for display electronically, at immense savings in time, space, and cost. When the manager must confer with his colleagues elsewhere, he will see and talk with them at any distance through a desktop two-way television unit linked to the general communications network. Wherever he goes, he will carry his own pocket computer to help him calculate and weigh alternatives bearing on materials purchases or contract awards or pricing policies or the countless other complex decisions he must make. Greater decentralization will follow. When managers may confer electronically, even without leaving home, routine travel will become unnecessary. We will be able to communicate to work. We should see no more of the two-day journey for a one-hour meeting, nor will there be any compelling reason for a national company or multinational corporation to make its headquarters in an overcrowded city. Today's London-based British enterprise, for example, could make its home anywhere from Land's End to John O'Groats and simply plug in. Quite apart from the broad social and economic implications, this trend will make for more flexible and open organizations. When full information is accessible anywhere, day-to-day decision-making will be simpler at all levels. Local managers and administrators can act more promptly and autonomously to meet local conditions and market demands. Top management can devote itself less to detailed supervision and more to creative planning and policy making. In the long run, these developments can lead to more fluid concepts of management in business and government. They will permit wider variation in organizational structure, since they provide the means for either more unified control of far-flung activities or the delegation of power to many centers. Tomorrow's public or private organization will be able to reshape its structure as needed to meet changing conditions and objectives. What of the individual in this emerging environment? The impact will be profound because we are confronted for the first time with a major technology uniquely capable of serving individual needs. Integrated electronics are already working change in established home products and developing new personal applications such as electronic wristwatches and pocket calculators. The trend has inspired a new outpouring of lively predictions that the individual will do almost everything electronically. I cling to the belief and indeed the hope that this will not affect doing what comes naturally. But there is no doubt that the new technology will transform the domestic scene and provide a multitude of attractive and convenient services. Many of these will eventually be incorporated into comprehensive home information systems, linking the household in two-way communication with people, institutions, and computers in practically any part of the world. Whatever the specific nature of the future hardware and services, a profoundly important change will occur, with consequences that cannot now be fully foreseen. This will be the application to personal use of advanced information processing now available only in systems that are large and costly. The result can be a widespread upgrading of brain power to apply to our studies, our labors, and our creative activities. This prospect holds vast implications for education. Today, learning is largely formal and institutionalized. With large-scale integration and the development of compact personal systems, the learning process can be freed of physical limitations. The individual pocket computer, the desktop interactive terminal, and wideband communications can give the student instant access to stored knowledge anywhere. His information processing capabilities can be multiplied by several orders of magnitude. The classroom may become a place used exclusively for group discussion and intellectual stimulation, with formal study and learning carried on at the student's own pace, wherever he chooses. The library may be transformed at the same time by new and economical data storage and retrieval techniques. It can be linked into nationwide or even worldwide networks of reference centers, all of whose contents are readily accessible to the student at his terminal. These same capabilities in the home can be expected to extend the learning process far beyond current limits. With immediate access to source material and data processing facilities, anyone of any age would be able to devote leisure time to studies in any subject, whether for personal advancement or for the enlargement of intellectual horizons. Such a trend could open the way to higher levels of understanding and to new forms of cultural expression in the years ahead. The electronic revolution also holds special promise for the underdeveloped world. As the new technology reduces the cost and complexity of handling information in great quantity and varied forms, its products will fall increasingly within the reach of developing nations, their schools, public agencies, businesses, and even individuals. As new tools of teaching and learning, they can begin to lay a firm base for indigenous social and economic growth and to narrow the gulf between the wealthy nations and those which have been largely denied the benefits of technology. These benefits can be amplified by the global reach of communication satellites, linking underdeveloped societies with the industrial world and accelerating trade and investment. In effect, the electronic revolution can enable more than half of mankind to catch up with the Industrial Revolution. It cannot be assumed, of course, that future progress will follow the blueprint I have sketched. The promise of technology is a better life for all, but the promise is too often compromised. Too much effort must now be spent on defensive technology, seeking to offset the effects of our own carelessness or folly. Vast resources are now diverted to military systems to protect us from ourselves, and to environmental technology to purge our surroundings of noise, dirt, and poison resulting from the heedless application of past discoveries and inventions. Alfred North Whitehead wrote, "Intelligence is quickness to apprehend, as distinct from ability, which is capacity to act wisely on the thing apprehended." There is ample proof of human intelligence in the works of technology that surround us. Human ability, by Whitehead's definition, is a far rarer quality. Once again, with the advent of the new electronics, there is opportunity to demonstrate that ability. It may, in fact, be our last, best hope to develop an open, humanist society and to avoid either locking step in a standardized technological world or drifting toward greater fragmentation and ultimate chaos. This is a direct challenge, particularly to those trained in science and technology in a nation endowed, as Britain is, with a humanist tradition and a history of leadership. It is a task worthy of the greatest effort. If we succeed this time in coupling a fundamental advance in technology with human social, cultural, and economic needs, we shall achieve the greatest and most beneficent revolution of all.
The address is over, and as the applause dies away, the whole assembly rises for the national anthem.